Up with KREM begins now.
Good morning, everyone. 6 o'clock here on your Thursday. Welcome to Up with KREM. I'm Tim Pham.
And I'm Nicole Hernandez. We want to get to our meteorologist, Thomas Patrick. Thomas, we've been seeing some rain the past few days. Has that helped us at all kind of catch up to the amount of rain that we typically see in the spring season?
A little bit, but we could actually still use a little bit more, because think about it this way. It was about like 4 or 5 weeks between April and then the first week of May that we incurred this deficit. So it will probably take 4 or 5 weeks for us to recover that. This is one of those weeks, so it has gotten better, but we haven't gotten fully there. So we'll still take as much rain as we can get. Today, though, a break from the action for the most part. There's still one shower that is still just kind of pestering the Silver Valley area. You can almost see it from 4th of July Pass and then out towards Wallace Way on the right side of your screen there. That's the last rain shower that we'll likely see today. The rest of the day is expected to be dry. We'll call it a mix of some sun and clouds, especially for the late morning and early afternoon hours. But our current temperatures have cooled off a little bit more today as we currently find ourselves at 42 degrees.
Here's a live look at the traffic impact from I-90 and Evergreen in Spokane Valley. Right now, you can see traffic flows are moving great here. We're not seeing any major problems on our freeways and highways in the 6 o'clock hour. We'll keep a close eye on it throughout the morning. On Up with KREM, we bring you weather and traffic together every 30 minutes.
This morning, we know more about the shooting and stabbing at the Lower South Hill apartment complex that we told you about yesterday.
Police sharing new details about a man with a knife starting a series of fights before a bystander shot him. Police say that woman was not hurt after a tenant pulled her into an apartment to protect her. Police say the suspect then attacked a man near the stairs, stabbing and killing him. The suspect then walked through the Hart Terrace apartments, attacking a man walking a dog. That man shot and killed the suspect in what police are calling self-defense. This morning, police are still not sharing the names of the victims or the suspect. New this morning, the Museum of North Idaho could have trouble trying to fund phase 2 of their expansions.
So back in April, museum staff learned a $500,000 grant from the National Endowment for the Humanities was in doubt. Yesterday, the NEH said they were not going to match the museum's funding anymore. NEH says they're changing up their funding allocations to better fit with President Trump's priorities. The grant would have helped fund the museum's phase 2 of expansion, expanding exhibit space and a state-of-the-art archive area. Even without this grant, though, the museum says they're confident they can still raise the money to do the expansions.
A new law signed by Washington Governor Bob Ferguson will allow state officials to do health inspections at private detention centers like the ICE Processing Center in Tacoma. It comes as recent detainments of people in Washington have sparked large protests outside of the Northwest ICE Processing Center. The facility is run by a private company called the GEO Group, which contracts with ICE. While the state does not have the power to force the release of detainees, the new law has the governor hoping to get more transparency on their living conditions.
The Department of Health is setting these standards and also taking action and be able to take action by gaining entry into these facilities to do these inspections.
The department assumes they will receive at least 500 complaints per year based on the volume of complaints received from the Tacoma facility.
Washington passed a similar law back in 2023, but after it passed, state officials said on several occasions the GEO Group did not let them in. The GEO Group filed a lawsuit calling it unconstitutional, which is why this year lawmakers expanded the definition of a private center.
Washington State Attorney General Nick Brown is in Washington, D.C. today for a hearing at the U.S. Supreme Court. Brown and other state attorneys general are challenging President Trump's executive order on birthright citizenship.
Challenging the president's illegal and unconstitutional order, trying to rewrite what it means to be an American in this country. And his executive order deals with birthright citizenship, which has been the law of the land for over 100 years.
Trump signed the executive order on his first day in office. It made it so a baby had to be born to parents with permanent legal status to be a citizen. Since then, lower courts blocked the order nationwide.
Tracking today, a heads up for those in Pullman. The Whitman County Regional SWAT Team will be doing trainings at various locations on the WSU campus. You can expect the trainings to run from 7 this morning until 4 o'clock tonight.
Also today, Governor Brad Little ordered flags to be at half-staff in Idaho for Peace Officers Memorial Day. In a statement, Governor Little said it's, quote, important that we recognize our fallen officers and their families for their sacrifices.
Today in North Idaho, a series of maintenance projects for the Post Falls Parks and Trails begins. The maintenance will expand the life of parking lots, trails, and paths to keep them safe and accessible to the community. In total, 6 parking lots and 4 different trails will be worked on through June 7th. Parks will remain open, but parking lots, trails, and paths will be temporarily closed during the projects. Park officials say you should plan ahead and follow the signage.
As a reminder, this morning, driver's licensing offices in Coupney County will be closed today. Also, concealed weapons permit offices will be closed as well. They're closed to do some mandatory trainings. These offices will reopen Friday, tomorrow, for normal business hours. The Coupney County Sheriff's Office says, in the meantime, you can use the QLess app to schedule appointments in advance.
Time is 6:06. Let's take another look at our weather forecast today. Finally, a dry day for the inland Northwest as we find ourselves just in the middle of the exiting showers, which are now over Montana, and the next storm system, which is this cold front, which will take almost 24 hours before it arrives. But it is going to be moving in that direction, basically straight west to east across the Pacific Northwest in these next coming hours and maybe 1 to 2 days here. So today, kind of a weird thing where this morning the clouds will decrease, and then this afternoon, they'll start to increase in advance of that next storm. But we probably don't see rain until after the midnight hour at the very earliest tonight.
Well, I know Thomas is talking about rain, but those warmer summer months are coming up quick, and Spokane County recently opened registration for swim lessons.
Yeah, because you need to learn how to swim before it gets warm, right? That's why you need to get to it now. KREM 2's Brandon T. Jones live for us this morning from the Southside Aquatic Facility in Spokane. Brandon, we know the fun times are ahead, but you spoke with a swim instructor about safety reminders. Sure. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Tim, Nicole. That's exactly right. And I can only imagine in about a month or so, this Spokane County Family Aquatic Facility, it's going to be absolutely filled with people having a fabulous time. But according to the CDC, we know that drowning is the leading cause of death for children ages 1 through 4. So when you hear those type of statistics, it's also important to remember that drowning is preventable. As mentioned, registration for swim lessons is available now through the county. They have sessions from June 9th until August 14th. I got a chance to speak with a local swim instructor about a few reminders. She mentioned the 5 layers of protection. That begins with barriers and alarms if you have your own personal pool, supervision, watching your children when they're out or near water, water competency. That means learning how to swim, how to be safe in bodies of water, life jackets on lakes and rivers, emergency prep. That means CPR, or knowing who to call in the event of an emergency. And of course, being safe out on the water spans across all ages.
You'll feel more comfortable letting them go to a friend's pool. You'll be more comfortable them going with someone to a lake. Just that step of learning how to swim gives them a step up. And actually, swimming lessons gives your child an 88% chance of survival, just swimming lessons alone.
So again, swimming lessons are now available for registration with Spokane County. If you're interested in signing up, we'll have a link to registration on our website. We'll have that up here pretty soon. But just again, remember to be safe out there on those waters. It's chilly this morning, but we do know those warmer days are surely ahead of us. But for now, reporting live in Spokane County, Brandon T. Jones, KREM 2 News.